you believe it? So nice to see you, Aaron. How are you? How are you holding up? How have you been coping with everything that's been going on?
Oh, you know, I think that most people would happily trade their struggles for mine.
Well, yes, there's lots of blessings to count, for sure. But I'm wondering if you've had this thing, because, you know, obviously you are, for my money, one of the greatest writers alive. During all this time, do you get people going, well, this must be great for you? You can just write all day. And you think, yeah, I don't feel that creative right now, surprisingly.
That's exactly right. I don't feel that creative right now. I'm more frightened than anything. It's hard when, you know, so many people are really suffering. Either they're sick or they're unemployed or they're not in school. It's bad out there. So it's not good for me.
Now, obviously, the election is coming up. It's been, let's be honest, it's been an absolute roller coaster. Every day, some crazy news story, unforeseen plot twists. What's been the most shocking event for you out of this election? What's the one thing that stands out over these past few months?
First of all, let's remember I've been engaged politically in fictional worlds where I get to decide what everybody says and does. But without a doubt, the most shocking thing has been the president telling us over and over that there will not be a peaceful transfer of power. I feel like we've been given a heads up that men with box cutters and bad intentions are boarding passenger planes. It's something I never thought I would hear. I don't think any of us did.
Well, because I remember he alluded to it when he was running in 2016. There was a moment in 2016 where he said, I will trust the process if I win. And I remember watching that thinking, oh, well, that's it. He's toast. Nobody can talk about democracy in such a way and go on to become the president of the United States. And, I mean, how wrong could I have been?
But, he is now the president saying that unless he wins, it's been rigged, that mail-in ballots are corrupt. And, you know, he has his people believing it. And there was a poll recently, 23% of Americans believe in QAnon. So there's just a huge population out there who are gullible and who have a thirst for this idiocy that Trump and his enablers are trying to sell us.
But a lot of it, does this come down to a responsibility in the media, which is something in your show, which I really love, The Newsroom, you touched upon quite a few times, the responsibility of the media to not be entertainment, to just be fact-driven. How do we, how is that protected and sort of ring-fenced in a way where what you need is every news organisation in America, if not the world, to go, well, this, whoever announces that someone may or may not have won, well, not every vote's been counted, and we will not respond to that accordingly. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the problem is when you say the media, who exactly are we talking about now? Because there is one network, one news network that has a lot of viewers that lies to its viewers on a regular basis. I think that, frankly, I think that with the exception of Fox, that the other news networks have done, and news outlets, not just television, print, online, have actually in the last 4 years done a phenomenal job of coming around to the belief that this isn't normal, that we should call a lie a lie. Frankly, I thank God for them, that this has never become normalized. And by the way, the other people who deserve thanks for that too, for not normalizing that, you and the other late night hosts.
But mostly me, I hear what you're saying.
When the day comes that you guys don't open your show with, can you believe what's going on? That's when we can all really get frightened.
Well, yeah, I think I take a lot of the credit for that. I think it's mostly me.
It is mostly you.
I think in many respects, if I hadn't been here the last 4 years, I dread to think what would have happened, Rob. Because I speak truth to power.
Yes, joke all you want, my British friend, but it's true.
Now, if we're talking about misinformation, it's kind, and I couldn't believe this. It made me feel very old that we're coming up to the 10-year anniversary of The Social Network being released. When you look at that film, and what do you think now when you see what Facebook has become and what it represents to so many people now?
Yeah. Listen, I know more about Facebook in 2005 than I do about it in 2020. But back then, I just felt that Facebook and of other social media were just kind of bad for us socially. It wasn't a good way to socialize with people, and but now it's grown teeth. It's much worse than that. It is a amplifier and force multiplier of bad information, which again, it wouldn't matter if people weren't quite so gullible and available to this absurd information. If people took their news diet more seriously.
Well, also, it's the algorithm. It's the way that you can get dragged. You can have a slight interest or a slight thought, and the algorithm will work its way to take you further into whatever it is you might be sort of interested in. So it's sort of it becomes a thing where like no longer. I mean, I think back to 2005 when you wrote the film, and you sort of think, well, or sorry, when Facebook started and you started to write the film after that. The argument was, well, we're just the platform. We're just the platform. We're where things exist. And that argument sort of doesn't hold up today.
No, it doesn't hold up anymore. And, you know, and maybe that was the idea. But you have to look at it and see what it's become now. And what it's become is Facebook is an organization that goes, fight, fight, fight.
Yeah. Now, Aaron, we have to congratulate you on your brilliant new film, The Trial of the Chicago 7. This is a movie you wrote and you directed. For anyone who hasn't caught it yet, tell us what it's about.
Sure. It's a true story. In 1968, there was an anti-war protest at the Democratic National Convention in Chicago. It was supposed to be a peaceful protest, but it devolved into a terrible clash with the police and the National Guard. 7 leaders of that protest, 8 actually, there are 8 members of the Chicago 7, that gets explained in the movie, were put on trial and charged with conspiracy to cross state lines in order to incite a riot. It's a federal crime. It comes with 10 years in prison, and the trial itself ultimately became one of the most notorious trials in history. Defendants were very colorful. The judge was crazy, and some horrible things happened in that courtroom that should never happen in any American courtroom.
I mean, this is a story that I know you've wanted to tell for quite some time. Did you have any idea, could you even begin to anticipate how relevant the film would feel at this moment right now? No,
never. Listen, when this started 14 years ago, when Steven Spielberg asked me to come over to his house on a Saturday morning. That's very unusual. I don't hang out with Steven Spielberg. He told me that he wanted to make a movie about the Chicago 7 and the crazy conspiracy trial that followed. And I said, that's a great idea. Count me in. And I left his house and called my father and asked him who the Chicago 7 were. I had no idea what Steven was talking about. I was just saying yes to Steven Spielberg the way literally anyone would. But after doing a lot of research, then it just became a really good story to tell. This is going to be a terrific movie.
I mean, I feel like your entire career, you've really had a knack of being slightly ahead of the curve on what you think people may be talking about or care about. Like, even just the projects that we've spoken about today with the Newsroom and The Social Network, and now this. I mean, to take it on as a director, because it's a very different film to Molly's Game, was that daunting to you, the scale of it, the size of it?
Yeah, it was incredibly daunting to me. Listen, it would have been daunting to me if it was just 2 people in a room. But the fact that there were going to be riots and tear gas as well as a principal cast of 12 or 13 people.
Yeah.
This was a much bigger thing than I imagined I could wrangle, but I had a lot of help.
Did Spielberg ever visit the set?
Yeah. Spielberg came.
What's that like when you're directing and he's just sort of sitting on your shoulder?
When you're directing several of the greatest actors in the world,
yeah,
with Steven Spielberg standing behind you, you know, you just go, screw it.
Well,
you just go. There's really I can't do it right. There's no right move I can make here. So just move the set along. I think at one point I went to the guys. I went to Sacha Baron Cohen and Jeremy Strong and Mark Rylance, and I reached into my pocket and I had $23, and I said, guys, this $23 is yours. Split it up any way you want. If you can just be cool for the next couple of hours, please. He's standing right behind me.
Well, they absolutely took it on board because the film is brilliant, and I urge everybody to see it.